Above the horizon, within a colossal dark vortex spanning 100,000 feet, a terrifying storm surged forth. Below, Xiao was stunned as he witnessed an enormous black face, approximately 100,000 feet in size, emerging from the vortex. As the eyes on that gigantic face slowly opened, Xiao felt a tremor within his heart. Buzz. An overwhelming ripple of energy, as if capable of shattering everything, descended from the heavens. The force of this ripple was so powerful that it could even shake the soul and divine soul. Soul shock. Xiao expression showed alarm as he sensed the soul-shaking ripple. Yin Yao's technique was a soul attack, or as it was referred to in the Great Thousand Worlds, a divine soul attack. The divine soul, like the soul, was a person's second life and held even greater significance. Xiao swiftly retreated while his hands formed a series of seals at lightning speed. Behind him, an immense shadow tens of thousands of feet tall emerged, created by an immense surge of divine soul energy. Netherworld heavenly wrath. Xiao roar echoed as the enormous shadow opened its mouth. A sound like a thunder dragon tearing through layers of storm clouds erupted, colliding head-on with the incoming divine soul attack from above. Netherworld heavenly wrath was one of Xiao most powerful techniques, second only to the ancient Do-Di inheritance he had acquired on the continent of Do-Chi. This high-level heaven-tier battle technique was inherited from the Netherworld demon saint, though Xiao hadn't used it for some time. After the battle of the Twin Emperors and his ascension to Do-Di, he had further refined it. However, even with these enhancements, its level still fell within the realm of the great divine arts of the Great Thousand Worlds. Just a mere great divine art, and you dare to use it against my divine heaven art? Moreover, the Nine Origins art hasn't even been fully unleashed. Yin Yao sneered at the enormous shadow behind Xiao. The divine soul shock created by the Nine Origins art was only its initial display of power. However, the might of the divine heaven art far surpassed that of any great or lesser divine arts. Boom! The Netherworld heavenly wrath, moving at near light speed, tore through the air. Yet Xiao actions didn't cease. Raising his hands slowly, the massive flame emperor body behind him summoned flames of various hues. These flames swirled together in the sky, forming a colossal, resplendent black ring tens of thousands of feet wide. This blackness was purer than the void created by spatial rupture. It radiated an aura of reincarnation. Buddha's fury reincarnation. As Xiao cry rang out, two of the continent of Do-Chi's most powerful techniques surged forth simultaneously, meeting the descending divine soul shock head-on. There was no earth-shattering explosion, only the relentless collapse of space. The terrifying divine soul shock poured down, breaking through the Netherworld heavenly wrath after a brief stalemate of a few seconds. Even so, the attack managed to diminish the divine soul shock by about 1/3. Then, the gigantic Buddha's fury reincarnation ring spun and roared forward, canceling out the remaining energy of the divine soul shock. Buddha's fury reincarnation was a progressive battle technique that Xiao had developed based on the flame mantra. The stronger the flames within Xiao, the more powerful this technique became. When he first reached the Dosheng level, he had used this technique with 4 heavenly flames to defeat 3 half-Dosheng experts. Now, with 26 types of flames, its power rivaled that of great perfection divine arts. Since you've managed to block this, let's see if you can handle the Nine Origins art next, Yin Yao said coldly, showing no surprise that Xiao had resisted the might of the divine heaven art. His icy voice echoed as he sneered. Nine Origins art. Heaven-reaching chant. As Yin Yao's low chant resounded across the heavens, the mouth of the gigantic black face within the vortex began to open. A horrifying ripple emanated, making Xiao hair stand on end. The ripple's sheer terror seemed as if it could tear apart the supreme sea within Xiao. This is the divine heaven art. The flame emperor body rapidly shrank, revealing Xiao astonished face. Flames erupted from his body, creating barrier after barrier. Yet under the terrifying ripple, these barriers crumbled like fragile paper, breaking one after another. A piercing sound resounded from the sky, followed by a deepening gloom that descended upon the already dim world. From the massive mouth that opened in the heavens came a frequency, so powerful it shook the very fabric of space and time. As the space fractured, the terrifying sound waves swept downward in a devastating surge. In that instant, the entire world seemed to collapse, a testament to the overwhelming might of the divine heaven art. Beneath the descending divine soul storm, Xiao murmured softly. Then, vast spiritual energy erupted from his body, accompanied by an immense sea of fiery flames. Xiao sat cross-legged in the center of this blazing ocean, his eyes closing slowly as the raging energy began to subside. Screech! The nerve-wracking shockwaves of divine soul energy hurtled downward from the heavens, their speed surpassing the limits of human vision. Just as they were about to strike, Xiao eyes snapped open. The once placid seas of spiritual energy and fire within him suddenly roared to life, surging wildly. In midair, the boundless seas of spiritual energy and fire began to merge at an incredible speed. The sight of these two massive oceans intermingling left Yin Yao in the distance visibly shaken. Despite the collision of two entirely distinct forces, there was no explosion. Instead, something extraordinary unfolded. Ding! At the point where the two oceans fused, a dazzling speck of light emerged. As the fusion deepened, a second point of brilliance appeared. The ocean shrank rapidly, and a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth speck of light followed in quick succession. Boom! Within a few short breaths, the two enormous seas of energy had completely vanished. Suspended in midair were 9 radiant points of light, their brilliance piercing through the heavens. Xiao face grew pale, drained by the complete exhaustion of his flame of firepower and heaven and earth spiritual energy. Yet, through this sacrifice, he had forged his most formidable technique to date. When Xiao had ascended to the early stage of Earth Supreme, his flame mantra, having previously absorbed a trace of Yin Yao's fireworks, had undergone a breakthrough, evolving from an imperial tier technique to an entirely new realm, a realm Xiao could not yet define. Luck had always favored Xiao. When he first ascended to Doshang, he had comprehended the Buddha's fury reincarnation. Now, with the evolution of the flame mantra and his rise to Earth Supreme, Xiao had once again achieved enlightenment, unlocking a new super-tier battle technique. The 9 points of light resembled stars scattered across the heavens, shining brilliantly yet exuding no discernible aura. Time itself seemed to freeze in that moment. So, this was a one-time move. It's drained every last ounce of my strength. Xiao weakly lifted his head, gazing at the 9 radiant points of light in the sky. Above, the terrifying force of divine soul bore down, shattering the fabric of space. Let's see whether this so-called divine heaven art can stand against the technique I've just discovered, Xiao rasped. His voice carried a hoarse determination as his eyes turned sharp and resolute. He lifted his right hand, not to weave a complex seal, but to simply point a single finger forward. A deep voice echoed in his mind. 9 heavens. Radiance. 9 heavens. Radiance. Buzz. As Xiao deep voice reverberated within, the 9 points of light in the sky erupted with blinding brilliance. The dazzling light illuminated an area spanning millions of miles. The 9 luminous points then aligned to form a single beam of light, connecting heaven and earth, and surged upward toward the descending storm of divine soul energy. This was an utterly disproportionate clash, their auras on completely different levels. The 9 points of light connected into a stellar beam, which pierced through the void in a flash. It collided with the torrential divine soul energy descending from the heavens, and for a moment, the impact was silent. No grand explosion erupted. Like a moth to a flame, Yin Yao sneered coldly from afar, his own aura weakening after performing the divine heaven art. Yet his smirk froze in the next moment. Amid the terrifying divine soul shockwaves, the 9-star radiance pierced through at an incredible speed. Despite its penetration, it did not disrupt or weaken the shockwaves in the slightest. The devastating energy swept relentlessly toward Xiao below, yet he remained seated in a meditative posture, seemingly ready to confront the onslaught head-on. His goal isn't to counter my divine heaven art. A voice filled with shock came from the distant Yin Yao. In his gaze, the 9-star radiance had already pierced through all the divine soul shockwaves without slowing down. Its target was the massive, dark face within the colossal vortex in the sky. He's actually aiming to destroy the core of the divine heaven art. On the ground below, Xiao sat with closed eyes, completely ignoring the divine soul shockwaves already upon him. This level of power could shatter the divine soul of even a practitioner at the early stage of Earth Supreme. Could it be that Xiao was sacrificing his divine soul just to destroy the core of Yin Yao's divine heaven art? Ding! At that moment, a white light shot out from Xiao body, transforming into a figure of pure white brilliance. It was the spiritual embodiment formed from the fusion of all heavenly flames. With the departure of the flame spirit, Xiao lost his final strength and fell unconscious. The first time, you saved the entire continent of Doqi. Now, for the second time, let me save you. The white figure gazed at the unconscious Xiao and murmured softly. Simultaneously, an imperial wave of fiery energy radiated from its body, enveloping tens of thousands of miles in an instant. Boom! As the fiery energy spread, the earth for tens of thousands of miles trembled violently. Massive pillars of magma erupted skyward from the depths, transforming the entire region into a hellish magma inferno. Flame Emperor Body. The ethereal voice of the white figure echoed as the countless magma pillars converged above, forming a Flame Emperor Body nearly 10,000 feet tall. As the terrifying divine soul shockwaves descended upon the Flame Emperor Body, the white flame spirit showed no hesitation. A strange smile appeared on its face as it uttered a single ethereal command. Burn! Unusual flames ignited across the colossal Flame Emperor Body, consuming it entirely. Decades after the battle of the Twin Emperors, the Flame Emperor Body self-immolated for the second time. This level of shockwaves is beyond imagination, the white flame spirit muttered, watching the engulfing divine soul shockwaves. The peculiar flames on the Flame Emperor Body exuded a terrifying power that even Yin Yao, from afar, found appalling. This is impossible. Yin Yao's voice trembled in shock as his pupils constricted. A self-immolating Dharmakaya. Boom. The immense fiery power created a complex web of interwoven lines in the air, forming a colossal net that trapped all the incoming divine soul shockwaves. The peculiar flames covering the Flame Emperor Body completely engulfed it as the massive form burned away at a speed visible to the naked eye. Form. The strange flames erupted, forming a massive fiery pillar that shot into the heavens, merging with the vast net of light. Under this fiery assault, even the devastating divine soul shockwaves, capable of threatening a mid-stage Earth Supreme, were reduced to nothingness. At the same time, the 9-star radiance in the sky collided with the enormous dark face. The erupting fiery energy created a circular hole about a meter wide in the dark face. Through this hole, the 9-star radiance penetrated its core. Ah! A horrific scream echoed as dazzling 9-colored light erupted from within the dark face. The 9 points of light converged into a single point. Instead of a catastrophic explosion, space itself collapsed continuously. The massive face was entirely consumed by the imploding space. With the destruction of the divine heaven art's core, its creator, Yin Yao, suffered severe backlash. Blood spurted wildly from his mouth as his heaven-reaching python form dissipated, revealing his human figure. In the distance, the Flame Emperor Body had been completely obliterated into nothingness, leaving only a dim white flame suspended in midair. At the cost of burning the Flame Emperor Body, the fire spirit had incinerated all the divine soul impacts into void. Heh, in the end. Wasn't it still my victory? A hoarse and powerless laugh escaped from Yin Yao's mouth. He gazed at the unconscious Xiao in the distance, his hand slowly lifting as a gray flame rose up. Though he could no longer manipulate heaven and earth's spiritual energy, this heavenly flame still remained at his command. In Yin Yao's hand, the flame rapidly expanded, transforming into a colossal fire dragon stretching 10,000 feet. Though this power might not be sufficient to kill an Earth Supreme, The current Xiao Yin, vulnerable enough that even a low-grade supreme could end his life, stood no chance. The fire's destructive power was more than enough to finish him off. Die for me. Yin Yao's suppressed rage erupted, driven by the humiliation of being pushed to such a wretched state by someone who had only recently broken free from the shackles of a 9th-grade supreme in the lower dimension. Today, Xiao Yin had to die. Boom. The massive gray fire dragon roared toward Xiao Yin with terrifying momentum. If it struck him, death was inevitable. Yet just as the fire dragon closed within 1,000 feet, from an unknown and unfathomable distance across the heavens, a terrifying power capable of controlling the world surged over the continent, crossing millions of miles in an instant. In that brief moment, this power of dominion enveloped the entire nameless continent. The previously chaotic battlefield instantly fell silent, frozen in place. Everything, every living being, every ripple of energy, was immobilized, including the two heavenly supremes clashing high in the skies and millions of miles away, as well as the battle between He Yuanyun and Tong Dan. Time seemed to halt. Then, a voice, ancient and echoing as if from 10,000 years ago, resounded across the nameless continent. Alas, the illustrious primordial divine clan, reduced to such infighting,